I am the Doctor, this is my section. Earth is under my protection. Planet of birth is Gallifrey. I've got two hearts, your life is saved. Run into the Master Raw Missy. Come on, Alonzo. Alonzi. I am a Time Lord. No, I'm not rich. 12 bodies a man. Now it's time for a switch. Don't look like that. I'm in great health. You were expecting someone else? Regeneration. Oh, such fun. When I say run, run. Run! What's up, my boy? Peace and sanity? Sorry, mustache. Reverse the polarity. Sometimes I'm north, but always a limey, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Jump in the TARDIS, go for a ride, it's bigger on the inside. Exploring all of time and space, oh what's that? Exterminate.
Cybermen or Daleks maybe.
Would you like a jelly baby? Time's ticking, we'd best go, a new adventure, Geronimo! I am fantastic, so are you, best come with me, I'm Doctor Who. Welcome to a brand new episode of D4WH. It's Doctor Who comedy for adults.
Yes.
I am your host, staying up till midnight, writing synopses the night before a recording since 2018. I'm Adam O'Sullivan, joined as always by my co-host. Did you know that comics move when you touch them? It's comedian and Doctor Who fan, says Tom Baker. It's Nicchia Short. How are you?
I'm good. Yes, I always feel guilty when you mention how you sit up at night and write all those synopses. You know what I do? I just put my feet under the table and join in. This is it.
I mean, partly it is my own fault.
You do go down rabbit holes, don't you?
That does delay me when I realise I've spent an hour looking at something that I'm not going to put into the podcast. And also when it's half an hour before I have to go to see a show and I'm like, oh shit, I haven't written the synopsis for tomorrow.
Yeah, and we probably shouldn't wing it.
Yeah.
We're professionals.
And everyone's like, hey, do you want to come out for a drink afterwards? I'm like, no, I've got to go write a synopsis. Goodbye.
How to make Doctor Who a drag.
How have we done this for so long?
Oh, I don't know. But I do know that it was nice to see in all of this the Mechanoids.
Oh, okay.
Having a little bit of a comeback and looking a little less shit than they were in the old black and white.
So they're from a TV episode. I assume they were from like
yes.
something else, a comic or something.
I can't remember. I think it's the second Doctor.
Right.
But it's certainly a black and white.
Were they testing out, like, just in case they couldn't use Daleks for everything? Or?
Well, and I guess maybe they were looking for, because the Mechanoids aren't good or bad. They just, they were robots.
They're robots in disguise is what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Robots in disguise.
Do you remember when they were doing remember the one with the emoji with Bill?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Sort of like that. They were there to set up the planet for the Earth colonists who then got dragged into wars and never turned up. So they just sort of took over and they're having a lovely old time. But they do, they greet people and stuff. They're not as exciting as the Daleks, but the Daleks are getting, and I will say I'm on Dalek overload after watching all this, but they are fairly predictable.
Yeah.
And they're starting to go to the Cyberman end of my monsters that I just want to punch in the face.
And every time the Doctor's like, oh, you don't seem too bad, then the Dalek will turn around and be like, yes, you've fallen into my trap.
Oh, I know. The Doctor's not stupid, right? Right?
No. The Doctor is going to turn around and be like, I knew the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I know I like to see the good in people as well, but after someone's kicked you in the guts about 4 times, you go, oh, hang on, that hurts.
You go, excuse me, yeah. I love being kicked in the guts. Do it again, please.
Please. Yes, I like to try and find the good in people too, but come on, there's none in the Dalek.
Do you like to find the good in squiddly little aliens in a robot body?
Look, they could have hearts of gold. Hearts of gold. And also, I was just hoping you'd say squiddly diddly because that was my favourite cartoon.
Squiddly a diddly.
Not because it was a good cartoon, but because I got to say squiddly diddly.
Well, it's Christmas, not Easter, so you can eat squiggly diddly any day you like.
Squiddly diddly.
I was thinking the other day, I was like, when's that day when we only get to eat fish? And I was like, oh, that's Easter.
That's Good Friday, yes. Not so good for some.
We are recording this just before Christmas. It's going to come out a month later.
Wow.
We're trying to be get in early.
We're banking in. So Merry Christmas, and I don't mean it because it's already passed. So get over it.
It's time to give it a D-whirl with our new section, Doctor Who in Real Life.
Woo, woo, woo.
Series 13 has started filming as of this recording, and people have started seeing the TARDIS, Yaz, and the Doctor popping up.
Oh, I am looking forward to getting to know more about Yaz because she really did take a back seat to Graham and Ryan, and to see the dynamic with her and the Doctor.
People have been hoping that maybe Captain Jack would be back for the new series, but doesn't look like it.
Well, look, you never know with Captain Jack, and that would be something you would try to keep as a bit of a surprise, isn't it? I mean, they lie. They have to lie because things leak out all the time. So if they said to me, there is absolutely no way Jack's in this, I'd go, yeah, no, it'll probably happen now. It's like when you're a politician. It says, the Prime Minister says, I back Fred Jones all the way. You know he's screwed. The government's backing you, you're out. They're getting rid of you.
Or if a politician is like, I hate gay marriage, I don't think it should be allowed, I don't think it should be in, and then we all should act surprised when they get found at a gay orgy months later.
Me think he doth protest too much.
Yes, exactly. I believe that happened to a politician, I think it was Turkey or Poland or something like that. Yeah.
I think it might have been Poland. I did read that. I think that's so hilarious. The hypocrisy is overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah, and he said he ran away from the orgy and they found drugs in his bag and he's like, I don't know what's going on, I don't know what's happening.
I didn't mean to be here. I thought it was church.
Oh, is this not church? Is this not how we pray? This is how I pray every fucking day.
I thought it was a nude church.
I was going, oh God, so.
Oh God.
Oh, baby.
God, give it to me.
However, blurry photos taken by fans suggest that Series 13 may see the return of two baddies. Ooh. Spoilers if you don't want to know, obviously. Please fast forward a little bit.
Hang on, give them a chance to fast forward.
Meanwhile, while your dog nips at my toes.
Oh, that is my new dog, Raxus. Actually, full name Raxacoricophalopatorius.
If I make a noise, it's just here.
I know, you're pitching a tent, right?
Yeah, I'm putting my flog tent on.
Very subtle. Won't notice it on the train.
The photos show what look like to be a new design of the Sontarans.
Oh, don't muck around with the Sontarans too much.
No, they still look like Sontarans, but it's just like a little bit of a redesign of their outfit.
It'd be nice to have Strax back, but I do like the Sontarans, and they're not overused. But they're not overused.
Yeah.
And they're always like, Jim the undefeated. Well, not Jim, but I'm Jim the undefeated.
Strax the undefeated.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jim.
I don't know how I got this shitty name.
And do you want to guess what the other one is?
All right.
The other returning baddie?
The Weeping Angels.
Exactly.
Hey, that's a good guess because I had no idea.
Yeah, so it looks like the Weeping Angels could be coming back. That's exciting.
That is exciting, but I hope that they have them back the way they were in Blink, where they just throw you back in time. I didn't like them in the one with Riversong and Matt Smith's Doctor when they were killing people. It didn't work, I didn't think.
Well, we'll see. We'll see in the upcoming series.
Wow.
Or, as you mentioned, could this be a trick by the BBC to make us think we found out a big secret?
Yes.
Much like they announced the return of the Jadoon to ensure we didn't realise Captain Jack was coming back.
Well, that's right. Maybe that is to distract us from...
Yeah, maybe they're hiding something else.
Yeah, that there's a multi-Doctor story coming up.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Oh, my God. I hope they don't social distance.
It's coming.
I can't wait for New Year's. Well, it's already passed when this podcast comes out, but right now I'm sitting on the edge of my seat wetting my pants.
We were talking about holidays just before this, and it's like, I can't wait for the New Year's special, but then I'll be basically back at work then.
Yeah, that's a bit rubbish.
Don't wish away your holidays before they've happened.
Nope.
In today's episode, we'll be looking at the October 2020 releases for Time Lord Victorious. This includes Monstrous Beauty Part 3, published in Doctor Who magazine number 558, What the TARDIS Thought of Time Lord Victorious, a short story published on the Doctor Who website, The Enemy of My Enemy, released by Big Finish, and Daleks, episodes 1 to 3, released on the Doctor Who YouTube channel. Start with Monstrous Beauty number 3, written by Scott Gray and artwork by John Ross, published November 12th in the Doctor Who magazine number 558. The Ninth Doctor fights off vampiric Rose, who is eager to feast on Time Lord blood. Ooh, num 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 num. Rassilon attacks the coffin ship aboard the newly created Bow ships. The distraction gives the Doctor a chance to put Rose to sleep to protect her. The Bow ships kill Hugo, the man-bat. The girl that Rose was kind to, Sentia, shows the Doctor to Rassilon's ship, but Dragon, the vampire commander, finds them first. The Doctor offers him a chance at his old life, so Drogon throws Friar Grystrock to his death.
Well, who wouldn't?
Of course, what
With
a
a
prick.
name like that,
Yeah.
imagine having to remember that every 5 minutes.
I'm Mr. Evil.
Yeah.
The Doctor provides him with a vial of synth blood, which can override the vampire virus, thus curing all the vampires and
Yeah.
Rose, whom the Doctor takes to a quiet little moon to allow her to rest up.
Very convenient little,
Yeah,
little
exactly.
ending there. Look, I didn't enjoy it.
No.
The artwork's good.
Yeah, artworks were quite nice, but I think this suffers from the fact that it was in Doctor Who magazine, so it couldn't take up that many pages.
Yeah.
But also, like, just a lot happens in such a short amount of time.
And things that you think might mean something obviously don't in the story. Now, maybe they do later on
Yeah.
because you don't see the tie-in with Time Lord Victorious, but apparently there will be. It didn't end on a cliffhanger. She was so easily cured. Rose is barely in it.
Yeah.
She's either possessed or asleep. So she could be Andrew Dawson's The Lazy Susan.
The whole last issue was just them getting to the coffin ship. And then this one's like, okay, now we've destroyed the vampires, cured Rose,
Yeah.
gotten away.
There were things that they could have done in the last one that would have given you some time to not breathe, but just to care. I just didn't care. I just knew Rose would be okay. I
Yeah.
knew the Doctor had come up with something. There were no stakes in it
No.
for me. And I read it because we were reviewing it, not because I was interested. So, yeah, that's a bad indictment on a Doctor Who thing for me.
Yeah. Even if you put the three together, I suppose the first one was probably the best out of all of them.
Yeah,
but
I thought it was.
it set up a nice story. And also, I feel like now that we're getting some of the interconnecting stories that are supposed to connect some of the other stories that we've already done together, we're finding inconsistencies because obviously a lot of different people are writing a lot of different things.
Yeah.
In The Night, the Fool and the Dead, at the end of that, the Ninth Doctor turns up in the coffin ship.
Yeah.
But at the end of this, he's not in the coffin ship.
Yeah, so is that going to happen somewhere in that story?
Yeah. Or did they just set that up and not realizing that, in this actual story, he's not going to have the coffin ship? He doesn't even have, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe he gives the Rassilon ship to Sentia. So
Yeah.
I don't think he has that either.
No.
So, he doesn't turn up in his TARDIS at the end of The Night, the Fool and the Dead.
So
We'll see.
unless while Rose is snoozing, he turns up. I don't know. I mean, I have read that the Time Lord Victorious story is in between the panels, not the stories.
Right.
But really?
I don't know. Well, we'll have to see because in the coming month there's All Flesh is Grass, and apparently that seems to tie everything together.
All right.
So we will see.
We will see. But yeah, no, not a fan of, I was not a fan.
Look, I think it's great that all of these different
Oh, me too.
things are coming together to tell a story. Believe me, it must have been difficult. They did have the one person, James Goss, doing the whole thing. He did an interview where he basically said he got called into BBC and they've been trying to get this sort of thing happening for ages, probably since the start of the new series. And he said it took about 5 or 6 years of planning to finally get to the stage where they were. So
Oh, yeah, and I can see that. And look, James Goss is a good guy for that.
Yeah.
And I always enjoy his stories. If it's written by James Goss or Justin Richard, I usually go, yep, that'll be good. Or Stephen Cole, I like his as well. So,
Next up is What the TARDIS Thought of Time Lord Victorious, a short story written by James Goss and published on the Doctor Who website November 15th, 2020. Set just after the Doctor leaves Adelaide Brook in the waters of Mars, the TARDIS has picked up on the Doctor's wild emotions. She has also noticed that by trying to save Adelaide, the Doctor has created a time fracture.
well, he got right up Rose when she caused one. But anyway.
But he's Time Lord Victorious, so
Yeah,
the TARDIS will use this time fracture to take the 10th Doctor back to the Dark Times, to make a mistake he needs to make, and learn all about Time Lord Victorious.
Yes, he certainly, at this point in his regeneration, it was time for him to go because he was becoming quite bitter, cynical, bitter maybe might be the word, and trying to be God, play God, I think.
But by some estimates, the 10th Doctor has only been the 10th Doctor for like 4 years.
Yes, I know.
Whereas, the 11th Doctor was the 11th Doctor for at least 1,000 years.
Yeah, he looked weary, not cynical. I think the 10th Doctor has PTSD badly.
Right.
Badly. And he's at the regretting stage. First of all, you pretend it's not happening and then you face up to whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you try to move on. So that's your 3 stages, your Eccleston, Tennant, Matt Smith.
I mean, it's a nice little short story. It is a bit strange.
I liked it.
To hear, the TARDIS referring to itself and as a person, sort of,
But the TARDIS is a character.
I know that, but it is interesting to hear it from the TARDIS's point of view. Yeah.
See, I always say the TARDIS always takes the Doctor where the Doctor needs to be, not where the Doctor wants to go. And it's always been like that. I mean, they'd always say I'm watching a lot with the first Doctor as I'm writing some stuff about canon, which is hilarious. And I would have to say that it's like he can't fly it.
Yeah.
Or it's broken in some, and then other things he just doesn't know what he's doing. He's too old. But I think as it develops, you start to see that the TARDIS definitely has a mind of her own. And when I was growing up, I thought of her as a character, and always a girl, because the Doctor always called her old girl.
We call our cars she, yeah.
Yeah, although my car at the moment, Toby, is a boy.
Oh, okay, there you go. Mine's Betty Blue, and she's a she. Yeah.
Ah, no, the woman who says to me, if you speed accidentally, says, please obey all speeding traffic regulations. Her name's Bitchin' Betty.
Whoa, Bitchin' Betty, bam a lamb. Whoa, Bitchin' Betty, bam a lamb.
She like the bitch.
I turned off the voice on my GPS.
I don't know how to turn any of these off. Yeah.
Yeah, because it just basically goes, in 50 meters, turn left. In 10 meters, turn left. In 5 meters, turn left. I'm like, calm down, all right? Jesus.
And then when you miss it, and then it says, please do a U-turn. Please do a U-turn.
Reconfiguring. Like, all right, I fucking missed it. All right, shut up.
I know. But I would like it to be a lot more realistic so that when my husband doesn't take the directions that it tells him to take, it then says, well, what are you doing? Why would you not take it when I told you to turn? No. Oh, well, you know everything. You do it. No, turning off.
You missed the turn, Dave. You're less of a man.
Yeah. Did you do it on purpose? How to annoy me.
And the TARDIS also notices as it travels through the time vortex an ood falling through the time vortex from the 8th Doctor's TARDIS and decides that Brian the Ood will be useful.
Yes. So I did like that little connection there.
Yeah.
That Brian turns up.
And we also know how Brian the Ood and the 10th Doctor get to the Dark Times because they fall through the time fracture. And I assume that's how the 9th Doctor gets through as well.
Yes. Well, we can only assume.
Next up is The Enemy of My Enemy, a full cast audio play written by Tracy Ann Baines, featuring Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor, released November 11th by Big Finish. Nicchia gives his top marks just because it has Paul McGann in it.
Yes, I'm a little bit in love with his voice. Actually, I'm a whole lot in love with his voice. Let's not play it down here.
The 8th Doctor has been kidnapped.
Kidnapped.
Don't
kidnap.
Has been kidnapped.
Oh, I was liver napped once.
Yeah. Ooh. They just stole your liver.
Yeah. I'm having your liver. No, I need it.
The 8th Doctor has been kidnapped by a Dalek time squad. The strategist has decided that they need the Doctor's help with the time anomalies. They head to the planet Rax with a W, not Raxacalicophraleptoris.
Exactly.
Which I kept thinking every time they said the planet Rax.
Me too. I'm thinking, what? They couldn't call it something else?
Yes, I had to look it up to see if it started with a W.
Blacks.
The planet Rax should be a barren wasteland, but is teeming with indigenous life. The Raxians have found a way to conquer the other species in the universe, and the Daleks want to form an alliance.
Do they?
Yeah.
Do they, Adam?
Yeah. They want peace in the universe.
We come in peace. Ooh.
No, you don't.
Shoot to kill, shoot to kill, shoot to kill.
The Raxians have a machine called the Devolver, which can take the DNA and devolve an entire species. The Raxians manage to sample Time Lord and Dalek DNA and threaten to eradicate both from the universe. The Dalek strategists and the Doctor form an uneasy alliance to stop the Raxians, and in the end, the Doctor manages to convince President Sarathan to deactivate the Devolver, but only if the Daleks leave Rax. The Doctor makes sure they do, but the Executioner Dalek remains behind briefly to devolve the Raxians.
What a dickhead he is.
I know, but, gotta expect it from the Daleks.
Oh, I know, but he's like the biggest dickhead in the whole of Dalek.
On the Dalek ship, the Doctor uses the power of the TARDIS so they can travel to the Dark Times and find what's causing the time anomalies. As the strategist says, he has got the Doctor to trust him.
Yes.
Again, because he trusted him in Defender of the Daleks.
That's what I mean? The Doctor's not stupid, and yet the Doctor can sometimes do the stupidest things with Daleks. Well, with any of them. Look, trusting the Master in Legopolis got him killed and regenerated. So I don't know how many times you have to regenerate before you go, hang on.
Yeah, well, I suppose using the Daleks to get back to the dark times to stop himself.
Ooh, does he know it's himself?
I don't know. I don't know if he knows it's himself yet.
He hasn't told them.
He knows where the anomalies are happening, I think. So he's probably going to get there and be like, what?
What? It's me.
Well, he wouldn't even recognize himself because this is his future self.
Oh, he wouldn't either.
So he'd get there and be like, we must stop this douchebag.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, it's me. I'm a douchebag.
I'm a douchebag. I am not Time Lord Victorious. I'm Time Lord Douchebag.
Time Lord Douchebag. Coming soon to BBC.
The thing that got me, I actually laughed out loud when they said, we've got the devolver, and the Doctor goes, what does it do? And I'm going, well, it fucking devolves, dickhead. I mean, even I've worked out what it does. If they'd called it the mobbly-dobbly-wobomb, I would have gone, what's that?
The devolver, it makes everyone dance the Charleston. You maybe just call it the Charleston gun or, Charleston Chew. Or...
We wanted to call it the devolver. But what does it do? He asks a few times. I go, work it out. Yes, so that's just when I was starting to get into Dalek overload. Oh, no, this was the beginning of my Dalek overload. So I love the audio plays, always do. And it's interesting to have the Doctor having conversations with Daleks when you're really used to them just in the background going, exterminate, obey, do what I tell you.
Well, half the characters in this audio play are Daleks.
Yeah.
And I assumed that there were more than one person doing the Daleks, but it's all Nicholas Brigg.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. He does well because they don't all sound like they're the same person.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, it was very, very interesting.
I did like that. I like the way he calls them numbers. Dalek 14, Dalek 12. I'd call them Dalek Rod. Dalek, Jim.
Well, they had a short interview with the director after the play, and he said, for Paul McGann, he had to just shout out like Dalek phrases so that he could know where his lines were.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that would be really hard. And I guess, they're not doing these in studios at the moment.
Oh yeah, this was recorded during lockdown.
Yeah, yes. And they're locked down again, I think, in the UK. So, although who knows what's happening when this releases, we could all be
inoculated against the.
We could. Wouldn't that be nice? But what did you think? How did you go with? Because it is just really a lot of Daleks.
Yeah, it is. Look, I'll play my hand now. This was my favorite part of this month. I really enjoyed Paul McGann. I liked the Daleks. It was it was an interesting story, and I like the way that this ties into the short trips from last month.
Yeah,
because this is obviously how the Master gets the devolver gun.
I know, and I did really like that tie-in. I think probably I don't enjoy as much reading the short stories and stuff, which is weird because I do love reading, but I'm enjoying more having the audios, and I quite enjoyed the cartoons, the animated series as well. It just, gives you a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, with the short stories from previous months, it feels like the short story from this month is just a filler, it's just like a fluff piece. Whereas previous short stories have felt like self-contained stories.
Yeah.
This feels like, oh no, if you haven't read or seen any of the other stuff in Time Lord Victorious, you're not going to enjoy that short story.
No.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this play.
It's like the TARDIS writing in its journal.
Yeah, basically.
Dear diary.
The Master's TARDIS looked at me, and I hope I get to see it again and ask it to the TARDIS prom.
I know it's evil, but I know I can fix it. I can turn it. I can make it good. I know I can. I wonder if they have a TARDIS prom. Yeah. We don't even have a prom. Prom. We have a formal. Ours is called a formal.
A formal prom.
Mm-hmm. What do they call it? Like, is that because they promenade, or is it on a promenade?
Why is it called a formal?
Because it's a formal dinner.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you answered that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's a prom dinner.
A prom dinner. What do you eat? Proms. You got prawns? No, I want proms. I want proms.
Chuck another prom on the barbie.
I want the queen of the proms. No, I think this one was my favorite. Although I did enjoy the story that we're about to talk about with the animated series. I was on Dalek overload by then. The thing I couldn't work out was with the Raxians, Were they good or were they bad?
Yeah.
You know, they seemed like they were plotting evil things. I mean, I don't understand why they decided to take the Doctor and strap him to a chair. I mean, that just seemed weird to me, unless you're into some sort of weird sex play.
Yeah.
I don't see why you're, hi, how are you? Get in the chair. I'm going to strap you in.
So you were totally on board then for that, were you? Yeah. 'Cause you were,
Paul McGann, yes,
like,
please.
Oh, yes, please. No, yeah, they went through this weird thing in the middle where the Raxians seemed nice until all the twist of like, no, everyone's evil. And then they were like, oh, look at all of the artifacts that we've got from all these civilizations that we've crushed. And then later on, they're like, oh, look, we're just trying to save everybody from all these bad places.
And they're not crushing them. They're letting them get back to their...
Well, that's what I want to know. How do they go and get the artifacts if they're just doing it from their own planet?
Yeah.
They then have to travel to that planet to get the artifacts and bring them back.
Oh, then maybe somebody does. Somebody goes, oh, great.
Yeah.
It's all, the war's over and now I've got to go all the way there just to pick up a couple of paintings and a novel.
All right, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Gotta go do this thing.
Precious cargo.
Hope no one stops me because we're not a warlike race.
Yeah, I won't know what to do.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't make any sense.
And there's a part of me, and maybe this is just my morality and my lack of it, but there's a part of me that goes, you know what? Sometimes it would be nice to be able to point that at a person who's very evil and go back to being a baby and let's see if we can do it again.
Well, do they have the chance to stop it before? Because it just seems like it goes from you walking around on two legs to being a pile of goo.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe they don't. But even if you're a pile of goo, you're the Daleks. Can't get any worse, can it?
And once again, the Daleks will just to end up in squid-like creatures anyway. You know?
Well, and they can't be any more evil.
Yes.
You know, they're already evil enough. They already can fly. Everything that we thought would defeat a Dalek doesn't work. Yeah. Jeez, I mean, the Doctor's a dickhead. Let him start again.
But also, at the end, the Raxians are like, oh, we're letting these civilizations evolve again to hopefully become better than they were. You literally in the first half, you're showing them the thing.
Crushed.
Yeah, we crushed all of these civilizations. You're acting like warmongers.
Yeah. That's where I got confused with that. I don't think there was a clear idea of who they were. I certainly went away thinking, well, what? One lot think that they're crushing and the other think that they're nurturing them back into a peaceful race.
Yeah, and also, does everyone on the planet know that this is what they're doing? Or is it just a couple of people who are at the top? You know, if the people found out, oh yeah, by the way, we're devolving all of these civilizations, they'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah, I wasn't up for that when I voted for him.
Yeah.
I think our president's a lunatic.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Which one do you prefer, the audio play from last month or this one?
Last month.
Last month? I prefer this one.
No, I like this one because it's got Paul's voice and I love Paul. But no, I just Dalek, blah, 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 blah. Somebody do something interesting with the Daleks. Like they managed to do with the Cyberman, the guy who hadn't quite converted. That was interesting. Otherwise, they really are just the monster of the week. And I know that little kids love them, but I don't ever remember being overly impressed with them when I was growing up. I thought the Sontarans were better because they look like potato heads and they were mostly about conquering, but you could reason with them. You can't reason with the Dalek, which makes them just dumb.
And like we said before, people do try and do we're going to do something different this time. This Dalek's good.
Yeah.
But then they always get to the end and they're like, oh, that's right, I'm writing the Dalek, so I better make sure that it's like, I was pretending to be good the whole time.
Yeah, I think the most interesting was probably Rusty, the Dalek, with Peter Capaldi and Clara. That was one of the most... And then, of course, Dalek, the one who was alone in the universe with Rose and the Ninth Doctor. But normally it's just... And then you see wall-to-wall Daleks and you go, oh, God.
Yeah.
I know they're going to be really easily defeated, but it does seem like a lot of Daleks to easily defeat.
You bring them out when you want something easy for the Doctor. Like, no one's going to be like, well, actually, the Daleks did make a good point.
Yeah.
It's like Nazis in video games. You chuck them in when they're like, look, it's okay that you're shooting all of these people.
Yeah, that's right.
They're Nazis.
They're Nazis.
All right?
No one cares. I find that really interesting, but also that they bring... Oh, I forget what I was going to say. Oh, well, must have been a lie.
Great, fantastic.
Yeah, and that is riveting podcasting for everybody.
Next up, we have Daleks, episodes 1 to 3. 3 episodes of an online animated series written by James Goss and released on the Doctor Who YouTube channel, featuring the Dalek Time Squad. Now, before we start going into the episodes, what did you think of the animation style?
Yeah. It was. It's a
was
bit
all right.
clunky, but
Yeah.
God, I grew up watching cartoons where they moved every 3 seconds or something. So I'm pretty forgiving when it comes to that. But I don't know. The drawings were great. The art
designs
was
are pretty
wonderful.
good. Obviously it's very cheap 3D animation. They're not chucking a whole bunch of money at it.
No,
But
I thought it was fine. It was entertaining. I really enjoyed the storyline. When I finished one, I was actually keen to find out what happened in number 2.
yeah, I had to stop myself because I really wanted to watch.
I wanted to go to number 4.
I really
me
wanted
too.
to watch the next couple to
I
find out
didn't.
what's going on.
Yeah.
And researching it to the right synopsis, I was like, I can't just keep clicking on different things
I
because then
know.
it might tell me, oh, and this one turns out to be the bad guy.
And I didn't want to be going, and then in the 4th episode, oh no, she's ruined it. But I did enjoy it, and I am looking forward to when after this, I can sit down and watch the next few. But it was good. It was good. And
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
at certain times when I was, trying to look after the puppy at the same time, you could still hear it and still imagine it because it was such a good story.
Yeah, and living through the 90s and the early 2000s with the sort of animation, the cheap animation we got back then, this is pretty good. This is, probably closer to like a Netflix animated series than it is to, some of the dodgy animation we got back then.
Yeah, look, it's fine. David said he used to have cartoons on for, I think it was 5 to 10 minutes on a Saturday morning when he was a boy, and he'd run out and it'd be Flash Gordon or the Phantom or someone, and it would really just be still drawings, and then like every, I don't know, minute they'd change into a different position and the story, I'll get you. Chase. So, yeah, you can forgive a lot of bad animation when you've grown up.
Like Poochie on The Simpsons. I have to go back to my home planet.
Yeah,
Do-do-do-do-do.
yeah that sort of.
Episode 1, The Archive of Islis. The Dalek Time Squad attack the Archive of Islis looking for information, and we never find out what that information is.
No, and I think we will. It's obviously very important. I did like the smart-arsey robots.
Yes.
I've always got time for a smart-arsey robot, I can tell you.
You have no defenses. We have a very large door.
Yeah, I did like that. We're going to kill you. Okay.
The archive is looked after by the Archivians, AI robots who refuse to let the Daleks have the archive. The Daleks change their tactics and begin exterminating the bunkers into which the life forms of Islis have presumably gone into. But when the Daleks are granted access to the archive, they find that the life forms and the archive are all gone. They have stepped through a portal into another dimension with the help of a life form from that dimension. In return, the Archivians have promised this life form the Daleks. Dun, dun, dun.
I love that. What have you promised them?
What have you promised them?
You rascally little things, you. Oh, you little tin killing machines. Just cute as a button. Yes, so who is this entity? I'm really curious to know.
Well, we'll make a prediction after we've gone through all the
I've got to
episodes.
say, when this one started and it was like kill, shoot, exterminate, I'm like, oh, God, how much of this? It's like last night Dave was watching John Wick 3.
Yeah.
And whenever he left the room and there was a fight scene, I would just fast forward through it. Fighty.
And then you come back and you're like, okay, explain to me exactly what happened.
He fought and he lost and he won. But it would go and I'd go like, I've never fast forwarded through so much of a movie just to get to somebody saying something.
I think with those movies, I haven't seen them, but I think with those movies, it's supposed to be very artistic and very interesting the way that they fight. And
yeah,
I don't know. I'll watch them and we'll see.
I like Keanu, and it is what it is. Like my husband, I'm sure if it was coming to kissing scenes, he'd fast forward through it. I mean, if he watches The Walking Dead, he fast forwards through the talking scenes. I go, these are the scenes that give them, you know, the characters a story.
I just want to see the zombies.
Yeah, he does. He'll go, oh, talk. We'll fast. I say, I want to hear what they've got to say. Why?
But the zombies had to go to zombie school to learn how to be zombies.
Oh, it's so frustrating. But then I do it through the fight scenes.
Yeah.
He goes, why'd you do that? I go, well, because they just fought. And they should both be dead by rights after the first minute, but they're still going.
My mum watches Netflix. Like, whenever she's at home, she's watching Netflix, right? And I swear that whenever I come out of my bedroom will be the instant that a sex scene starts. And it's like, fuck me. It's so awkward.
I talked David into watching Lady Chatterley's Lover yesterday, and he's going, "Oh, it's quite raunchy, isn't it?" I went, "Oh, the book was banned for years."
The book was banned for years, and then in Australia, a book about the banning of the book was also banned. Oh, amazing. I love it. It's fantastic.
And the book's, yes, it's rude, but it's not that bad.
I love the fact that the Parliament had to read the book to decide whether they should unban it or not.
I know.
Oh my, this is actually quite good. We should unban the crap out of this.
It's got Rudy sex in it.
But I mean, yeah, you're right about this first episode. It's just the Daleks attacking until like, we've got a couple of minutes left. Let's wrap up the story.
Yeah, and there's a bit too much of that. But I will say I did expect the archivists to just die and whatever was in the archive, the Daleks take. So I like that it took a turn.
That was an interesting
twist. I was
twist.
not expecting. I don't ever expect anyone but the Doctor to defeat the Daleks. I think everybody else is just dumb.
Episode 2, The Sentinel of the Fifth Galaxy. The Dalek Time Squad is being hunted by an entity from a different dimension. They flee to Skaro, but the entity attacks and the planet is lost. Without any other option, the Dalek Emperor sends the strategist to the Sentinel of the Fifth Galaxy. The Sentinel is a robot that looks after a large squad of Dalek reinforcements. Being inactive for so long, the strategist allows the Sentinel to update their computers, but realizes that the Sentinel has been infected by the Entity, which is time-sensitive and got there before the strategist did. Setting off the self-destruct, the strategist makes its way back to the remaining Daleks, who fight off the Entity-infected Daleks. As the Dalek flies off, the strategist believes that part of the entity has been weakened by the destruction of the infected Daleks. Very interesting.
It was very interesting, and it was interesting that the strategist had a chance to take over.
Yeah.
And didn't. So, poor strategy.
Well, it was interesting that the strategist was, the Sentinel was basically a comic relief robot.
Yeah.
Who's like, you are the commander.
I do like that. I told you I like a smart-assy robot, comic relief robot. Any robot really that isn't the Dalek or the Cyberman, I'm quite fond of. No, I did find it interesting. I'm not sure where this planet is, the fifth element or
Fifth Galaxy,
Fifth Galaxy. That wasn't really quite clear to me. It didn't seem to fit in with any other canon.
There's a lot of talk of dimensions and galaxies and universes and blah and this and that.
I know it.
Entities and...
It's like someone trying to explain string theory to me. And I just go, parallel worlds.
See, there's a box, and if it comes up really close...
Oh, yeah, dickhead. Okay.
But I did say, think that when the Sentinel goes, I have to update their computers, I was like, he's evil.
Yeah. No, I thought he was good. He's on my team.
Oh, right.
My team is any team the Daleks aren't on.
But I knew that the Daleks weren't going to, Dalek squad weren't going to help them.
Yeah, and the strategist is not that smart. I'm going to update them. Yeah, okay, I hardly know you, but yeah.
But then they're trying to make it at the end where he's like, I knew the whole time, that's why I set the self-destruct. Goodbye.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Yeah, I think that's covering up.
When he goes back, he goes, it was just as I thought. They got there before me. You put yourself in the middle of a giant Dalek squad.
Yeah, he's not that good a strategist, I can tell you.
Is the Dalek strategist supposed to be the hero of this, or?
Well, he's the most... I guess in every story you need someone, certainly with robots, you need a character who's more human, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So he's the more flawed... He's your way into the Dalek world without feeling too soiled, if that makes sense. It's not like you're going to look at the commander and sympathise with him at all, ever. But they give him some personality, so therefore you can love him, hate him, whatever that is.
Well, it's like when the Emperor goes to the Archivians, I think he says something like, you will listen to me. And I was like, wait, do Daleks, do they refer to themselves as me? And then I was like, that's probably okay because it's the Emperor. But then the strategist does it. It's, at another point, refers to himself as me or something. And I was like, I suppose that's also okay because he's the strategist.
I don't know. Like, one of the things that they're doing, that we're exploring, that we've probably never really explored with the Daleks, besides the cult of Skaro, is them having some sort of personality outside of I obey, you will blah blah, I obey. So getting some characterization into the Daleks. And I think that's interesting. And it would be nice to be able to explore that on the screen as a little bit more than we do. But they're just a lot of obedient drones.
Yeah.
And the Emperor's always got some dickhead plan that doesn't work, and the Doctor, stops it. Like the reality bomb. I always said, why would you get rid of all of reality? Davros, Daleks, stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid plan.
But then also in Defender of the Daleks, the Hond want to get rid of everything, but then the Daleks like, oh, we don't want to get rid of everything.
Yeah. Well, you do.
You did at one point.
Change your mind much, hey? It's like they don't have a consistent... I know they want to be the masters of the whole universe, but they either want to wipe out the universe or they want to conquer it.
Yeah.
I don't know which one they want. It depends on what the Emperor's, time of the month. I can't work out what is going on here.
But they're also trying to infuse some sort of life into the characters where instead of, oh, I've got a figure of a Dalek, you're like, oh, I've got a figure of the Dalek Emperor, my favorite Dalek, They want to create these versions of Daleks.
Well, that's
like the Master,
true.
where you're like, oh, I've got my favorite version of the Master.
Yeah.
Whereas you're like, oh, I've got a Dalek. I've also got a Dalek. These are the same Dalek. Yay!
That's true. I've got the strategist. What?
Yes.
The strategist? But it is good to give them some sort of, and I think they tried to do it with the Cult of Skaro, but it didn't take.
Yeah.
And they kind of ruined it in the TV series in Daleks in Manhattan.
My biggest issue with this series is that the episodes, they're only 15 minutes, so, easy to watch.
Yeah.
But they are trying to pack a lot into it because the start where they fly to Skaro gets taken over and then they leave happens so quickly. I was like, what is going on? It wasn't until one of the Daleks literally said, Skaro has fallen, it's lost. I was like, oh, that's what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay. Because then they need the bulk of the episode to be the Sentinel of the Fifth Galaxy.
Yes, that I missed that too.
Yeah.
So I had to, as I was listening to it, going, oh, okay. I think it was the third series I picked up where she said, oh, you've lost Skaro. And I went, that's what happened. I wondered what that was all about. It's just a lot of flying around.
I know, it was just a planet, stuff was happening.
Yeah,
they flew there, they flew back.
Yeah, I mean, telegraph it a little
Yes.
bit.
Episode 3, Planet of the Mechanoids. The Dalek Time Squad heads to the planet of the Mechanoids to ask for their help in destroying the entity. The Dalek Emperor converses with the Mechanoid Queen, whilst the strategist looks over the planetary defences with a Mechanoid scientist. The Dalek guards become impatient and try to find the Dalek Emperor, but are stopped by the Mechanoid guards. The Mechanoid Queen sees that no more Daleks come to help in the fight, and realises that the Emperor and the strategist are the last two remaining Daleks. But the Dalek Emperor also has a card up his sleeve. Gun turret.
Yeah, and he's sucker.
They have led the entity to Mechanus.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, the voice of the Queen, that has got to be Sophie Aldred, right? Ace.
No, it's...
Oh, my God, she sounds like Ace.
I believe it's Anjali Mahindra who played the Skithra. Skithra.
I'm sitting there thinking, my God, this sounds like Ace's voice. And I could picture her as the voice. I thought it was quite, oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. So
that's it. I'm wrong. I want you to mark that on your calendar.
Okay. Yep, I will. Thank you very much.
It won't happen much, but...
No, this was interesting. I had never seen the Mechanoids before. I assumed it was just like they had different designs for the Daleks and they were like, well, we'll take this one, but keep those ones. We'll make those the Mechanoids.
Put them with the giant clam because we're going to be using that later. No, the Mechanoids did have their own story. That's how I knew them. As soon as I saw the name, I went, okay, I remember sort of. They must have been referred to when I was watching it, but I had seen them when ABC reshowed everything that they had that hadn't been wiped over by the BBC just before the new series started. So it was good to see them. And I remember them being sort of round and a bit silly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked them.
Yeah, they look like basically just
flamethrowers.
Well, yeah, I was going to say they look like a mechanical version of just a fat man.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Hello, Thomas the Tank Engine. I'm a mechanoid fat controller. I don't know if we have the rights to that music.
Oh, sorry. That was a very poor attempt at something. Anyway, yeah, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the banter, the story.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I really want to know what happens next.
I want to know who the entity is. Well,
Me too. So well done, James Goss, because not poor animation, but clunky animation, I still enjoyed the story.
Yeah, and it always falls down to story, basically. If the story is
does.
good, people put up with a lot.
Well, that's right. You can animate the shit out of something and still have the world's worst story and think to yourself, well, why did I bother?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I thought this one was interesting, and the Mechanoids, they're obviously not rubbish because they defeated the Daleks. It's just nice to see someone defeat the Daleks other than the Doctor. You know, everybody else like, ooh, the Daleks, ooh, die, 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 die. It is nice when they come up against somebody or something that can fight them.
It was interesting when the Daleks were getting a bit antsy and they were like, we must find the Emperor. Where is he?
Where's the Emperor? Yeah, they're very impatient.
Yes.
Aren't they?
Mate, they literally just left.
Oh, God. We were just watching, Dave and I rewatched for me, the first 3 Star Wars. So The New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. And, yeah, we're just sitting there going, oh, isn't Luke a whiny ass, impatient, annoying? That's what they kind of reminded me of. That. I want to see him now. Where's he?
Where is he? He's gone.
Oh, he's so pretty. I
But then
want to see him.
when the Emperor and the Mechanoid Queen were like having their little thing, I was like, are they going to make out?
I think it's coming.
I was like, what's going
Hey,
on?
she's been queen alone. He's been emperor alone. Robot love.
Yeah. This is our son, Dalekanoid.
Dalek. Oh, I like that.
Dalekanoid, say hello to your grandparents.
He's made porn.
He's made porn.
Well, Daloid.
Oh, right, okay. I was like,
Son
Jesus.
Daloid. He's gone off the rails. We've tried everything. I'm sorry. I have to bring in Dalek porn.
And I also thought that was kind of happening a bit with the scientist and the strategist.
Yes.
Please check your screens. I've checked my screens. They're going down.
Down.
Down. Prices are down.
Yes, so but it is just nice to have the Daleks have a little bit more than, Dalek 12, Dalek 14, obey. I did wonder why they were so impatient to see the Emperor. That felt a lot like something to push the story along, but maybe they are very impatient. I mean, imagine at dinner time. They're just, ravenously yelling at you.
Well, I just have to go to the kitchen to finish everything. You've been gone too long. Is it ready yet? No, it's not ready yet.
Exterminate. Oh, you killed the cook.
I assume that this is set after pretty much everything else that we've watched, listened to so far, because the Emperor and the Strategist are the last 2 Daleks.
Yes. So it's got to be right at the end or right at the beginning.
Unless they get more Daleks before the end of the series, but I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know, but they have lost everything.
Yeah, it's just the 2 of them left. Scaro's gone. Scaro's been lost.
Well, so in the audio, do they have a huge fleet? No, they
but
do.
it's just a little squad. But they've got the scientists,
the time squad.
Yeah, the time squad. It's like it's not just the 2 of them. There's an executioner. There'd be a fleet with them as well.
Why would you take your executioner with you? I mean, he's going to be like bad habits, not a pleasant person to hang around with, not going to wash.
Well, he almost killed the Doctor, which was not ideal. But I think the executioner was there to execute the Raxians at the end.
Well, he did do that.
So
I thought that was quite a double cross there. Yes, but the Devolver. What's the Devolver gun? Guess.
Which is why there's no Raxians around when the Master gets there and takes the Devolver gun.
My fear is that as things come out, because I'm old, I'll forget what was in the story, and then I'll be like, "What? What are they doing there for?"
Meanwhile,
what's going on, Adam?
I pick up things like in The Enemy of My Enemy, the strategist, the Doctor goes, "I think your casing is old, but you still can fly, can't you?" And it flies around. And I was like, isn't that a whole point in the Defender of the Daleks comic where he was like, "Oh, you can't fly. Why can't you fly?"
Yeah. So is that later or
is it because he says I am the strategist for this mission? Is it a different strategist for each mission? Is there more than one strategist?
I don't know. There's a lot of Daleks. They've got to have roles.
They've never pointed out that there's more than one strategist. I've always assumed it's been the same strategist every single time.
I mean, because they don't mate, right?
No.
So how do they get more Daleks? They build them.
Yeah.
They've got. Where do they get the inside bit?
They clone them. They're clones. We've seen it in
that's right.
Also, there's that point where
They were cloning humans to make them, and then they didn't like them.
Yes.
Them Daleks are dickheads. I don't know what they're doing.
Then the Raxian president gives the Doctor the ability to kill all the Daleks, and he's like, "Oh, I can't do that," and it's like, "Well, this is the second time you've had the chance to wipe out the Daleks, mate."
Yeah. Also, this isn't wiping them out. This is just giving them a chance to devolve. Then you can nurse them back into. You can nurture them into the loving people that they may have been when they were Khaleds.
But I assumed that it would just be the life form in the thing. So the casing would still be there, and it would evolve from that.
And children could play in it, and
for millions of years.
And really, if you look at them, they don't look like they've actually evolved much.
No.
So, although they were
human at one point. Yeah.
So maybe they'll just go back to being humanoid.
Everyone seems to go back to primordial ooze.
Really?
Yeah.
What if... Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I found out the other day that whales are evolved from a land-based creature.
I saw that.
I was like, what the hell?
I think that's so cool.
It's insane. Then they were like land-based, then they started near the water, then they started going into the water, and then they're in the water, and then they became whales. I was like, what the hell?
I know. But is that because we miss them? They're sitting there going, you see those little pesky things over there, humans? We're getting to the sea straight away.
Well, someone did say that the theory is that, they saw the early humans taking over the land and they were like, well, let's try the sea, shall we?
I'm out of here, buddy,
that's a very loose-based interpretation, but,
Yeah, no, I spoke to a couple of them. That's what they said.
You spoke to the extinct species?
Yeah, no, I spoke to the whales. You see, they keep their history, not like us. They keep their history. And they said, that we pissed them off. They didn't realize we were going to build... throw trees down and then harpoon them anyway.
My great grand whale.
Said. Yeah, bloody humans. They're a pest.
All right, well, going back to Daleks, let's go for our predictions. Who do you think the entity is?
I think the entity is the Doctor.
Ah, interesting.
Don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm curious. But I'm hoping that the entity... All right, I'll go 50-50 here. The entity is a goodie.
Okay, sure.
All right?
Right.
I'm going put all my money on red. Go red.
My initial thought is that the entity could be the Cthulhu in some form.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. But it feels like there's going to be some big reveal in the last episode of like, and I would have gotten away with it. I haven't been you meddling Daleks.
Best kids.
So the Doctor, that's interesting. You think the Doctor has become a green mist?
Well, I don't know. They do like to throw you off by giving things weird names.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be much of a surprise if they went, it's the Doctor.
Yeah.
But the entity has asked, so maybe it's the Time Lords.
Yeah, it could be the Time Lords. I was also thinking maybe it could be the Hond from Defender of the Daleks.
Could be the Hond. Mm-hmm. They're in too much pain to plan anything, aren't they? I mean, you know what it's like. I've had a hangover for 2 days because this is why I don't drink anymore because I have a 2 to 3 day hangover. I couldn't plan shit.
Yeah.
I could barely plan to get out of bed with a hangover. So if I was in as much pain as the Hond, it'd be like, hey, I think we might go, shut up, whatever. Just do whatever. Well, we're going to murder you. Yeah, right, please do it.
And I'm a man, so we know that when I feel pain, it is the worst pain anyone has ever felt in their entire lives.
I'll never know it. I'll never know it.
No. Having given birth to 2 children, you will never know the pain of a man.
Yes. My ex-husband did say, I sprained my thumb once, dislocated my thumb once. I said, well, I'm going to if I dislocate every single one of your fingers and then slap you with maybe you'll have a bit of an idea.
Oh, did he not tell you that when we sprain our thumb, it feels like shooting a watermelon out our buttholes?
Well, see, this is where I'm not a boy.
You don't understand. You don't understand.
Didn't have brothers. What would I know? All
right, that's our prediction for the Daleks. If you're following along and you think, well, if you've already seen it, then don't
tell us.
But if you're, and that's all our releases for Time Lord Victorious. Is there anything else you want to talk about
with Time Lord Victorious?
Yeah, for this month.
Well, just that I'm excited about what's coming up with Doctor Who, and I'm having an absolute blast rewatching old series and writing up canon and as it changes. And what I've realised is that we as Whovians should not keep arguing about canon because nobody else knew what they were doing when they put this shit together.
So your favourite part of Time Lord Victorious has nothing to do with Time Lord Victorious?
Oh, well, it does because there's the Daleks are in it, and stuff I now know about the Daleks' origins, I'm finding really interesting. And I was going to bring it up into this, and then I thought, no, I'll wait. But there is some stuff with them that I think, okay, so they have evolved, devolved, whatever they've done. No, my favourite was the audio, always.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the audio. And interesting to note that nothing that we've gone through this month has the Cthulhu in it.
No, so where are they? Is it Christmas holidays?
Christmas holidays, maybe. Well, next month is December, and I think there's a lot more stuff that might have the Cthulhu in it.
Yeah, there is something I want to talk about that's not Time Lord Victorious.
Sure.
I watched Star Wars the other day.
Sure, and you loved it.
I did love it. Empire Strikes Back right at the beginning, okay? And they're out on the ice planet, and it's freezing, and Luke's dying, and there's a guy up in the crow's nest, and he's keeping watch. He's got a spear.
Yeah.
That is the only weapon they've given him. Not a gun, not a laser, not a cannon, just a spear. And I'm thinking to myself, why do you put it in the crow's nest and just give you a spear?
Well, maybe guns freeze up and he can't use them.
A spear against the Empire, the Death Star and a spear.
Is it a primitive tribe? Is that what?
No. He's one of the rebels.
Oh, right, okay.
Because Fred up the road probably has a club in his. I got a club. Yeah. I got a spear. I got a pen. Can we have a weapon? Anyway, it's just been annoying me ever since I saw it.
Why do they use lightsabers when they have laser shooters, you know?
Well, that's true. Well, that's old-fashioned. Why do people cut people's heads off with samurai swords when they could just shoot them?
It's like the Indiana Jones scene where the guy has the swords and then Indy just pulls out a gun and shoots them.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, well, why don't you just shoot people, you know?
Yes, I get that. Anyway, it's been bugging me.
Okay.
I had to get that out there.
If you know why he was given a spear, the problem is you open that can of worms. There's probably been like 6 novels about that one guy and about why he chose the spear. It was probably because it was his ancestral spear passed down from generation to generation.
Well, he's a dickhead. He shouldn't have a spear.
It once belonged to a Sith Lord from another dimension.
Yeah, so there's a whole Star Wars can of worms I don't want to open. I just liked the first 3 films and I didn't like much of it after
There's
that.
someone who really, really enjoys that character and was very pissed off when Disney came in and was like, nope, that's not canon anymore.
Yeah, it's gone.
They're really hoping for that spin-off series from The Mandalorian with just that random guy in a crow's nest.
And the spear. I'm spear guy. I come with spear.
Yeah, well, the spin-off from that will be just the spear.
Spear. Yeah, we don't want the guy. Anyway, so but it was good. It was good to get into this Time Lord Victorious, see the story start developing around us, finally finish off the stupid vampire story, which I just didn't like. I could tolerate the first bit, but after that it was just like, ugh,
yeah, it was all right.
teeth.
It was all right. I mean, what can you expect from Doctor Who magazine? They don't have a lot of space. They got to do articles about other stuff. So,
well, then don't be quite so ambitious when you're doing a story.
Maybe.
Maybe just do something very simple. Did you have something that you wanted to add that from this? You've asked me is there anything else I wanted to add?
I enjoyed it. Wasn't a huge amount this month.
No.
I feel like as we get closer to the stories connecting, I think we're finding those, you can tell that multiple different people have been writing it. I mean, we've got one person looking after the whole thing, but it feels like, he's not picking up those, in this thing he can do this, but in this one he can't do, I don't know, maybe he should just hire me and I could do the inconsistencies and I could, that's what the nerd is good at, man.
Well, what I'm thinking is that this is a red herring and that it is all going to interconnect and make perfect sense. And we're going to go, that's why, blah, blah, blah. That's what I think. I think James Goss is that smart.
I thought you were going to say that it was going to be a red herring and that the Doctor's going to wake up at the end and it was all a dream.
It was all a dream.
It was all a dream and everyone's going to hate it.
Nobody shot JR.
Nobody shot JR. That's what the Doctor's going to say when he wakes up. And that Time Lord Victorious thing?
Never happened. But I do think they have set on a really good theme in that part where the Doctor just did become too big for his own boots. Yeah. And I'm glad that instead of just leaving it and kind of not touching it again. They've looked at it, and you've got the other doctors coming in, and I'm hoping that they're going to give David Tennant some sense, because it did kind of go from that to then he was all right again.
Well, and how interesting that Russell T Davies 12, 13 years ago wrote this thing of like, oh, he's feeling a bit, he feels a bit smug and too big for his britches, and then now it could be extrapolated into this massive thing of like, no, let's explore this and let's go deeper into it.
Well, and that's right, and it'll explain why he was too big for his britches, and then he wasn't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what happened in between? So now we're finding out.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the right thing to try and do a multi-platform story on.
Yeah.
I mean, in some... There's actually been people have been trying to write a story about a fan fiction story about Time Lord Victorious, and how there's a parallel version of the Doctor who goes down that Time Lord Victorious and the vengeful 11th Doctor and 12th Doctor, and it's quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then that's how you'd end up with the version of the Doctor I don't like, which is who's the guy you put on trial?
Oh, the Valeyard.
Oh, that's it. I can never even think of his name. He's that insignificant.
I would love it
if
if they tried to make the Valeyard work, mesh it in with the current thing.
If they can make him at least a bit interesting instead of just this, I wake up this morning evil, I eat my breakfast evil, I go to dinner evil.
All right, thank you very much. That was Time Lord Victorious for November. Nicchia, would you like to plug your Facebook page?
Yes, I would like to plug Nicchia Shoot Comedy and my Facebook page, and I'd also like to plug Neighbourhood Watching with Beck and Nick. And give it a listen. It's nice, short, 15-minute little episodes. We've got a Facebook page. Links up there.
As always, you can follow Adam O'Sullivan Comedian on Facebook and visit thenerdinfinite.com. If you like D4WH, please consider jumping onto our Patreon and donating. For as little as $5, you can get mini episodes in between our normal
and
episodes.
Don't consider, just do it. Just do it.
If you can.
Do it. Do it. Drink the Kool-Aid. Drink the Kool-Aid.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Until next time, keep searching the skies for the Doctor. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of The Nerd Infinite. And then the sound of dragons spitting fire and stuff. What? Why are you looking at me like that?